Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to CoinApp TV. This is Robert Welkner, your host, going to be doing a live stream. I'm using StreamYard for the first time. Forgive me if things are a little bumpy, but I'm trying things out with my YouTube channel here. And I've got a special guest I'm going to introduce in a second here. The topic for today's video is Asian cinema adapted from works of literature from the 1980s, the 1990s, and the 2000s with Paul Thomas, who I'll cut to right now. There you are, Paul. I feel like we need like an applause machine or something. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks. I'm very happy to be here. I am a big lit nerd, so this is a easy topic for me to go into. So let's do it.
Great. So we've each picked. Let me do split screen here. So we've each picked like one movie from each of the 10 years, the 80s, 90s, and 2000. Now this is not by all means not a decided list of the best of the best. It's just kind of like ones that we wanted to highlight. So if you're watching this on the archive or the live stream and you want to chime in, let us know and we'll try and sort of react. I see somebody in chat says. Let's see. Yukup Sahim says morning. I'm not sure where you are. It's right now. It's 6 p.m. in Los Angeles, roughly. So wherever you are, it must be morning. So good morning to you. So Paul, I'll let me get the camera on you. I'll let you start. We're gonna go with the 1980s. Where would you like to go from there?
Well, I'm not going to say this is the best of the best. This is one of those so bad it's good kind of movies, although I hesitate to say that. But 1983, Holy Flame in the Martial World from the Shaw Brothers. It is one of the most insane films I've ever seen in my life. So if you've seen Once Upon a Time in China, you know Max Mock, who plays the kind of goofy sidekick, and he's the hero in this. Mary Jean Reimer, whose Chinese name is Yun Jingjing, probably the most stunningly beautiful woman in Shaw Brothers history for me. And there's also Young Ching Ching, who plays Max Mock's estranged sister. And the thing about this movie is you can't explain how many insane things happen in it. There's a mummy in green latex who only speaks English and he swears a lot. I mean, there's a couple of cops who get thrown into an acid pool and they come out as like cartoon ghosts. There's rainbow colored ninjas who jump out of a river. I mean, the insanity of this film cannot be overstated. So do I call this a great movie? Yes. Do I call it a good movie? Probably not. But it's definitely one of the most fun movies I've ever seen in my life. So that's 1983, Holy Flame of the Martial World. And you're about to top me with a much better pick. So why don't you go ahead and do that?
Well, before we move over to that, so that is, I'm not sure, did you mention that was a Shaw Brothers movie? I'm a big Shaw Brothers.
It is a Shaw Brothers movie. I'm sorry. And it's adapted from Heaven, Sword, and Dragon Saber by Jin Yong or Louis Cha, depending on how you want to say his name. And that's the third novel in the series that started with Condor Heroes, which a Shaw Brothers fan would know as the Brave Archer and his mate. They did a Shaw Brothers adaptation of Heaven, Sword, and Dragon Saber in 2 movies in 1978. Not very good, but this one, so much fun. So that's what I'm going for 1983.
It's interesting. Now you're mentioning that there is a lot of the Louis Shaw, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that was adapted. Did those just become like public domain at a certain time, or like how come the Shaws kept dipping into his work so frequently?
So he was a newspaper editor, and his stuff was published serially through his newspaper in Hong Kong. They have been translated in sort of a public domain way online, but they're really hard to get a hold of. And actually happen to be reading right now Deer in the Cauldron, which is his last book.
Wait, hold it up again. Let's see. Just that you gave it a quick flash. Let's see.
Sorry, yes. Deer in the Cauldron by Louis Cha or Jin Yong.
Nice.
It's amazing to me how long it's taken for a lot of his stuff to be translated to English. basically Deer in the Cauldron and the Condor Heroes are the only ones I'm sure are translated. It's been a long journey, but it's like if you took J.R.R. Tolkien and put him in Chinese. It's that kind of like level of like every detail of the culture is there. And so this movie, not a good example, but there are a lot of television adaptations that are much closer to his spirit. So there's my thought. 1983, Holy Flame of the Martial World. I'm putting my flag there.
Okay, great. And we got an answer. Yeka, if I'm saying that correctly, is in Melbourne, Australia. So that's great that we're reaching out across the world. I'm sorry that you're no longer going to be getting Disney Blu-rays and 4Ks anymore. That was the big news in Australia, that Disney's pulling out of the physical media market there. I'm not sure if I mentioned also on my intro that Paul has a YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description below in this archive, and he does a lot of great analysis and commentary and video essays on movies and cinema. I think you said that you told me before, you do like American, Asian, and
French, and also some Hollywood classics too. I just did one on The Lion in Winter, which is a English production. I mean, I'm really just interested in things that make me happy and make other people happy. And if I can share the happiness, well, why not, you know?
All right, let me go to my pick for 1980. So I'm going to go with Akira Kurosawa's Ron from 1985. This is inspired by Shakespeare's King Lear and also the works of Mōri Motonari. I'm reading off my notes here. Apologies if I'm saying any names incorrectly. Medieval Japan, elderly retiring warlord who wants to gift his heirs, his sons, the legacy, and there's a lot of greed and jealousy and combat and brutal backstabbing going on, and we even get sort of the classic the jokester or the prankster. What is that character sort of called in like Shakespeare? The comedian character who's along with the king. His sidekick, like the funny guy. It's the tragedy comedy character, like the jokes, the jester. I think that's what I'm
It's the jester, yeah. Yes. I'm just gonna let you hang yourself out there, but
yeah. As long as we're on a two shot, if I'm on a one shot and I'm trying to string my way along, I'll be very nervous. But I'll cut to the two shot if I get lost, and you wrote me in and saved me.
I think in the original, in Lear, he actually has two sidekicks, and the fool, who's the person you're talking about, is the main one. But there's another guy who's a lord who's pretending to be an insane person, and the two of them kind of are a tandem set of sidekicks. But in Ron, I'm pretty sure they simplified that to just have the one, with just the fool. So that's nerd talk here. I could nerd talk all day. So
that's something I've seen Ron over the years. I usually watch it like every 10 years, and I watched it recently, and I was thinking, man, the amount of extras, the costume design, the attention to detail in this, like pre-CGI from 1985.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Ron, make sure you check it out. And with that, I guess we'll jump to the 1990s.
Can I first say that you have superseded my choice by far? Your choice is so much better. I'm talking about a movie I love. You're talking about a movie that is one of the best movies of all time. So
on the flip side of this is I wasn't sure all these my picks were adapted from literature, which you probably already knew they were. I had to kind of Google and Wikipedia and say, okay, what are some of my favorite movies from these eras, and were they adapted by something? So if we were having a literacy battle off, I'm sure the writing gods would probably be in your corner more. Okay. But so let's move on to the 90s.
Yeah, I'm going with Jin Yong again, Louis Cha, or however you want to say his name. Smiling Proud Wanderer was adapted. It was adapted as a Jet Li movie in 1993 as Swordsman II. And there's actually 3 movies in the series. Swordsman 1 kind of gives you the overstory. Swordsman 2 really focuses on one section of it. Swordsman 3 is kind of like on its own wavelength. But it's Jet Li. His girlfriend is Rosamund Kwan, who you probably know from the Once Upon a Time in China movies again. But the movie's really owned by Brigitte Lin. She plays the villain Dongfang Bubai. And Dongfang Bubai is it's a character. So it's a dude who's really gotten into yin-focused kung fu. And so he has castrated himself. He is focused on his kung fu in such a way that he looks like a woman. And Brigitte Lin is a very attractive woman. And so a lot of the movie is this flirtation between Jet Li and Brigitte Lin. And it's okay, so that's all there. But I gotta say, this movie really is phenomenal in-camera special effects. There's people who were running across stalks of wheat. There's just all sorts of like stuff that you have to do with wires, and it's amazing. And so for me, this was one of the movies that got me into 1990s Kung Fu. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And they made a sequel because Dongfang Bubai was so popular in this, even though she dies at the end. They made a sequel, The East is Red, or Swordsman 3. It's not good. But this movie is one of those instances where the second movie in the sequence is like Empire Strikes Back. This is the one to watch. Swordsman II, 1993. So that's my call.
And I'll say I haven't seen, so the first 2 that you're mentioning, I don't think I've seen before. So I'm a bad Shaw Brothers guy, and I'm a bad Jet Li fan. They're just Swordsman 1 and 2. I've heard like 2 is the better of of those. It's just not as easily available. I've been waiting for some Jet Li resurgence in like the Blu-ray 4K market. So if they do like a Swordsman box set, I'll definitely have to pick that up and watch it. It looks fun from the trailers. Is that Shui Hark?
Yeah, it's Sui Hark. Yeah, he produced it at least. I don't know if he directed it, but he directed the first one. I will say you're much more of a hard media guy. I saw this for the first time when I was living in Korea, and there were no English subtitles, and I still couldn't get my mind. I couldn't get my eyes off the movie. I was just like, this is so good. Even though I don't understand anything that's happening, my wife and I are talking, and she's like, I think that she's supposed to be a guy. I'm like, really? Because she doesn't look like, but it was still like so amazing. Yeah. So I would probably skip Swordsman 1 and 3, but number 2, wow. So there's my talk.
Okay, let me get into my 1990s pick. I'm going to go with Raise the Red Lantern, 1991. We're staying in Chinese Hong Kong. Let's see. Although yours, I think, was Hong Kong. I think mine is more like Chinese proper. Filmmaker Zhang Ziyi, adapted from the Su Tong novella of the same name, Raise the Red Lantern, starring Gong Li. She's a young gal sold off to a wealthy man who keeps her in his estate, and he has lots of wives in his estate. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's got a lot of drama, a lot of brutality. It is still relevant, in modern times, even when it was made, and still is today. And Gong Li's performance is great. And this one I've seen a couple of times over the years. Have you seen Raise the Red Lantern, Paul?
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, that was another one of the movies that got me into Chinese cinema. And once again, I doff my hat. You have chosen a superior film to what I chose. Raise the Red Lantern is one of the most beautiful Chinese movies ever made. I mean, it's not the absolute top, but I would say it's definitely the top 5. It's phenomenal. So yeah. I'm just going to sit here and feel sad that I didn't mention like the classy movies. I really chose like the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch that again. But Raise the Red Lantern is amazing. And well, if you go to well, let's hear what you say for the 2000s. I think you're going to be better than me again.
Oh, okay. Yes, Paul doesn't know my last pick, and so I'll be, and I don't know his last pick either, so we'll be surprising each other. But so yeah, so with that, let's jump to the 2000s, and now we've got like wire work is out of control, CGI, The Matrix has happened, Hollywood has been opening the doors, the floodgates to Asian cinema, finally, I feel like. And, what do you think is something that ushered in something that's rewatchable from that era?
You're going to go for In the Mood for Love because you're classier than I am, which is one of the most beautiful films ever made. I am going to go for something really random. Have you heard of The Banquet or The Banquet at Night?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I've seen it.
It's Hamlet. It stars Zhang Ziyi as Gertrude, and it's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen, and it's one of the best Shakespeare adaptations I've ever seen. So basically, it takes Hamlet. First, it turns into a kung fu film, which is fantastic. Then it makes Gertrude the main character. And that's Hamlet's mom, if you know Hamlet, and it's just absolutely spectacularly good. I saw it on an airplane. I had very few choices, and I was like, okay, I'll try that. And it was very hard to get a hold of. I looked for years in southern China and in Hong Kong to find a copy of it. It's not easy to find, but it's called The Banquet. The English title, if I can look that up real quick, is something stupid. It's Legend of the Black Scorpion.
Wait, I have seen that. So that with Gigi, Zhang Ziyi is it?
Yeah, Zhang Ziyi, yeah.
Okay, so I have seen it, The Legend of the Black Scorpion. I just didn't know it was called The Banquet. Originally. Oh, so what year? So give me a little more info. What year and who was the filmmaker on that? If you have the page.
2006. I don't have the director immediately available. I know it's available on Tubi, Roku, Vudu, and Apple TV and stuff. But I can.
Yeah, I don't remember. The only thing I remember is like the second half seems to be like a standout for like action or something. Was it just like slow? Was it drama in the beginning and then like all out action the second half? That's about all I remember.
More or less. There is some action at the beginning. There's a scene where Hamlet is living. I'm just going to say Hamlet because who cares about the Chinese name of the character? He's living at like an artist colony, and they're all wearing like masks and white outfits. And they get invaded by a bunch of stormtroopers who are wearing black masks, and they slaughter all these guys, and there's just blood everywhere, and it's really freaking cool. So that is in the first half, but yeah, it is a slow burner. I mean, it's not a major action film, but I would say among Asian films from the 2010s, it's pretty high on my list. So I said 2010s. I meant 2006. So
I'm looking at Wikipedia. I could not pronounce the director's name. Feng Xiaogang or something. But that's a tough one for me to pronounce. But I see Daniel Wu is in it. He's a big name actor also. So that's great.
The guy from To Live. You remember To Live from back in the 2000s?
Yeah, that's the Zhang Yami film also, I think.
Yeah. But the main character from that plays Hamlet's father, or his stepfather in this, and he's also very, very good. So, anyhow, well, I'm hogging the camera. Let's move over to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So do you? So you guessed In the Mood for Love. I'm actually not a big Wong Kar-wai fan. I think the Asian cinema gods probably just a lightning bolt. I better watch out. I have seen a handful of his major ones, and I don't know why. I like Danny Boyle as a DP, and I like the cast that's in all of his movies, but there's something that just doesn't resonate with me with that. So sorry, but the The one I'm going to go with is 2000, the year 2000, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, well, there you go. You're going low class like me. That's awesome.
Which pretty much made most people like Asian cinema and like Hong Kong cinema, or kung fu and martial arts, and made like Chow Yun Fat and Show Yo kind of brands in America, transcended things. Ang Lee was the director. A lot of his movies were failed attempts early on, but this kind of really solidified him as like a cinematic director. Adapted from Wang Dulu's serialization under the same name as part of a pentology called Crane Iron from the 1940s. So it's based on some stuff, and our movies tie together because Zhang Ziyi was in your last pick, is in this one. So we've got a little tying, connecting dots there, connecting tissue. Which of course she was great in. I think she might have been the villain in like Rush Hour 2, and she had kind of a series of movies before she kind of disappeared a little bit in cinema. So yes, did you see Crouching Tiger in the theaters?
Oh yeah. No, I saw it when I was living in Korea, and I was sitting next to a family where the woman was reading all of the subtitles out loud to her child through the whole movie, and it's still a great movie. It's very beautiful. I love Michelle Yeoh. I love Chow Yun Fat. I like Zhang Ziyi. It's overall, it's just, I mean, it's classic, and you're not going to fault it in any way. So yeah.
So great. So there was like some 3 picks or 6 picks in total. So let's see. I'll get a recap in case you want to Google these. Ron for me, 1985. Raise the Red Lantern from 1991. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from 2000. You had
Holy Flame of the Martial World from 1983. Lowbrow but wonderful. Swordsman II from 1993, and The Banquet from 2006. And I'm going to cheat. I'm sorry, but The Foreigner, starring Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan, freaking amazing. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's so good. So that's my cheat. Sorry.
So we can have bonuses, runner-ups. I saw it in the theaters. It was probably the last Jackie Chan movie I saw that I really liked, and that's based off of like a novel or book or a song.
It's based off a novel. It was a novel from the 70s when the topic of the IRA was considerably more topical. They pushed the timeline back to be in the modern day, which I think was a mistake. But yeah, it's definitely Jackie Chan's best work in probably 20 years. So
yeah, that was a fun one. So, well, all right, for anybody who tuned in live, thanks a bunch for watching. If you watch this on the archive, make sure you check out Paul's channel. I'll put his channel link in the description below. And if you're a fan of Asian cinema and you have some picks from the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s, let us know what some of those are. So thanks a bunch, Paul, for jumping on and live streaming with me.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thanks a bunch, everybody, for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe for CoinOp TV. Oh, my goodness. One of my buddies just jumped in right at the end there. I got to give a shout out to Pokey Potvin. He said, cool video, guys. So thanks. Sorry, we're right at the end here, but you got a shout out. Portal Master rank up. See you later.
All right. Take care.